right, ladies. Um, we are live. Yes, even though I feel like I'm a robotic today, we are alive. So, hi, everybody. So, my name is Miri Cordaro, and this is my lovely partner for the financial part, Caroline Blossel. And we have a wonderful, I could say that you became a friend, right, Erin?
Of course.
So she's our guest today, and Erin have an amazing, interesting background in all kind of things. So we're very excited to have her today.
Really,
But
thanks for having me. And nice to meet you, Caroline.
Nice
yes,
to meet you as well.
so just before we started, just we'll learn about what you're doing, what you've done, and how you got to where you are. Tell us a little bit. You start. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, let's see. I worked in the mortgage industry for almost 10 years. I had gone into, sort of a subset of that right out of college. And I like math of all things. I know most people don't say that. So I liked, putting the pieces of the puzzle together in the mortgage industry. I started out as a processor and worked my way up to mortgage underwriting. Multiple companies doing that, learned a lot on the credit side. Actually, funny story, worked for an all Asian mortgage company at one point and didn't realize that we only dealt with other Asian mortgage brokers. So now I can go into any Asian restaurant and understand what anybody says because we pretty much had to interpret and only got bits and pieces of words here and there that they could speak good English. So I've spent 5 years doing that and learned I can't really speak another language, but I can surely interpret a lot of what they're saying.
Wow.
Then that's when the housing market crashed. So lost my job, was laid off for a while there. And luckily knew a guy through Lifetime where I worked then and still work now as a fitness instructor who was running a manager of a medical equipment sales company. So I had been first introduced to that and just loved the job. Couldn't believe how long that I sat behind a desk and didn't really understand how miserable that was until I was out in the field, controlling my own schedule, basically not doing what I wanted, but having the freedom to basically run my own business for the most part, setting up my schedule for the week. So I love that. I drove really far to do so. I live north of the city of Atlanta, and I was working on the south side of the city for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And it just got to the point where it was such a long commute that I didn't realize how miserable and exhausted I was driving so much. So I had a friend who had a construction company. I loved sales, so I loved doing that and doing the outside sales. So I learned how to estimate remodeling jobs. So it was called Green Basement. So we did a lot of basements. And then we also did other remodeling jobs. I loved that so much and worked with multiple different companies where they just didn't treat their people right and didn't do a good job for the customer. So I started my own remodeling company, ran that for about 5 years. Very small scale. I worked with a lot of friends and neighbors in my neighborhood. We had done 4 basements and mine all at the same time.
Wow.
But that was a good way. That was a good way to learn. So then I was at the point where I'm like, what do I do with this hodgepodge of skills of sales, of construction, of mortgage? I really enjoyed outside sales and talking with people. So that's how I got introduced to real estate investing. I was torn between becoming a real estate agent or looking into real estate investing. And that's when I found the Women's Real Estate Investing Network. I did a short, almost free, I think, mastermind with them and then joined their mentorship program. It was a great place to learn. It was a place where I realized I knew a lot, but then also had a ton to learn. And I was just really interested in it. So I was in that group. I met a woman there in the Georgia portion of the REAM group. And she was an accountant, so she was in love with spreadsheets, not my thing. So we were looking at properties in North Georgia, and then we ended up buying a short-term rental together that we still have running now. Love the short-term rental, love the area. We both use the property. It's just gotten really competitive and overdone in a lot of markets. So we have to do extra things to keep it rented and to, set us apart from the rest. So it's a little harder to manage. And then I got divorced at the end of that last year, which was one of the best things I could have done and should have done it much sooner. A lot of emotional stuff going on there. And that's when I found, I did some work on myself and I found REI Volt, which is another mentorship that helps more with running the business, where Reen was teaching us a lot about what real estate investing was and the strategies and the how-to and things like that. So I met Miri in the REI Volt community, and my current business partner, Xana, in the REI Volt community. She was also in RAIN, but we had not met in the group. It was a lot of people. We did have messenger chats and things like that, but it was just so many people, a lot of people got lost in the shuffle. So I did make some other good contacts from there that she also knows. And then her and I started working together here in Georgia. So I was already working with another partner, another investor I had met on my own, doing rehabs and long-term rentals in Macon, Georgia. So that was going well. I was the lender for him on 3 properties, and he'd actually moved to the area to handle the properties and do another project. So when Zen and I met, we were trying to figure out which areas to work in. We decided to continue in Macon and do some things there, since he was running the rehab, also running a project management company, living in the area, kind of a one-stop shop for us, boots on the ground. And then most recently, we've got 3 properties. After we got that done, we decided to hire Bob as our acquisitions manager. So we officially made him part of the team. We're in the process right now with 4 more properties there, but it's just, getting the sellers to communicate, insurance companies wanting to change things as you go, lenders. As Mary knows, it's always something new and exciting.
What's that music? Is that from you, Caroline?
It's me. So my daughter's playing the piano right now. I am terribly sorry. I didn't know if you could hear it or not. I was thinking of muting, so we don't have unwanted.
I was like, it's beautiful music.
No, it is. It is beautiful. I'm thinking,
I thought we had background music. I was like, that's nice.
No, we don't. But the kids are very musical. They're all very musical. Very talented bunch of kids she has. But wow,
that's a good skill that I could appreciate, because I don't have.
Yeah, I know. I can't even do it to save my life, So, whoa, that's.
I was just going to ask you if you could. So, when you talk about your properties, are your properties commercial properties? Are they multi-unit?
We are strictly single-family residents right now. Mm-hmm. We're in an area where we're buying properties from the $50,000 to the $100,000 range.
Yeah.
And then we're doing mostly cosmetic rehab, and then we're renting them long-term. Mm-hmm. But we do have a co-living property about ready to go live. Mm-hmm. Our first 2 properties, one is a regular long-term tenant, and the other is rented by a group home. So it might be people that have slight special needs or elderly people. So we have the lease with her. She furnishes the property. She manages all of the property. So we've got a lot of different things going on in one area.
So just 1 minute. So that's your co-living. So you just provided the actual home, and she runs everything.
That was more group home. So we still have that considered as a long-term lease with her, because she actually signed a 3-year lease, and then she handled all of the other stuff and the guests. And
she's
then
arbitraging it from you. Basically, that's what she's doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I just wanted to make sure that I kind of understood that. Awesome. What a great idea. Now,
And then we have a third one that we're renting by the room. Mm-hmm. So Pad Split is not a core area in Macon. They are trying to get there. Mm-hmm. So they're doing what they call Pad Split anywhere. Mm-hmm. which is where they will help us get the tenants and they will help manage collecting the money.
Yes.
Well, in the area that we're in, and we did furnish it. Now we did furnish it very inexpensively because the area is a little rough, and we already had the people lined up and ready to move in that either lived there in the past or were kind of seeing what was going on as we were rehabilitating it. And then a lot of people were getting paid monthly. They've got Social Security or disability or some sort of government income. They get monthly, but some of them don't have bank accounts.
Yes, you did. I saw that, which is really interesting, isn't it?
Right. So Pad Split said, well, we can either get them to pay 12 to 16 weeks in advance, which the people don't have the money to do that. Or we could sign off basically guaranteeing the money. And we're like, if we're going to have to sign off, then we're just going to manage it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we turned it into a month-to-month rental. Like we'll collect rent in the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
We've got their card information to just go ahead and debit it. And we're like, if we've got to do all that work and guarantee the people are going to pay, and we've got to collect the money anyway, so we're saving the 8% we would have paid Pad Split for work that we've already done.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. Wow, that's awesome.
Have they been consistent in their paying? Has that been a problem at all to be having?
We are just starting as of October 1st.
Ooh, okay.
So lots of prayers.
Yes.
And they really have been people that are in the area that have become a resource. Like they have given us electricians and I think an HVAC guy. They have been cleaning up the property because they've been wanting to live there. So we've been paying them day laborers to come and help us get the property ready. So at least they have some sort of like sense of
ownership.
Yeah. Property. So we're hoping this is the first one we're trying. And then a couple other houses that we just put under contract, we're planning to do the co-living approach as well. But then we still do have the long-term rental to fall back on.
Okay.
If it ends up
not working
in our favor or being more work than it's worth.
I was wondering if you have to get permission from the neighborhood to have a building with multiple people living in it. I mean, unrelated people.
Now, technically, you don't. The areas where Pad Split is core, like they are in Atlanta, they will get involved with the municipality or any neighborhood issues. In a case like the place where we have ours, there's not much going on in the rest of the street, so it's not a problem. And there's only street parking. I know some of the people that are doing it here in Atlanta, where if it's more of a neighborhood and they're doing like a higher end co-living, they have had that discussion with the neighbors. Hey, let us know. We're trying to set up a place for young professionals or women or what the situation be, where multiple people are living here that are unrelated. And we want it to go a certain way. So if you're seeing problems or noticing an issue as the owners, please call us so we can get involved. And that's worked pretty well.
Oh, that's great because there is a real need. And I see as housing prices increase and as incomes aren't increasing with the housing prices, that this type of arrangement is going to be more and more happening in communities. I see this in my own neighborhood where more and more the basements are being rented out or they're creating the opportunity for a basement accessibility so they can, we just lost Miri. But I also see the problem in one situation. I'm in Utah and in Salt Lake where someone came in and bought up nearly the whole street. And so now one person has they can create that neighborhood however they wish.
Right. And
so
that might not always be a good thing. Yeah. Because if you've got 10 houses and you're doing 10 co-livings and everybody has a vehicle, or things can get out of control in a hurry.
Yeah. So that's why I was just wondering, just because we are trying to be more resourceful with the properties that we buy, right? And yeah, Mary said she's not sure what happened to her. But I thought we're having to be creative. We're always having to think, how can I maximize this property that I was able to purchase? So
Right. And then we've seen it, of course, in Atlanta. There's someone who's going to ruin it for everybody. There's been like the slumlord cases where it's on the local news and there's 10 bags of trash piled out by the curb and the yard's a mess and there's trash in the yard and the cars are overflowing onto the street. And you've got investors that are like, I can fit 10 bedrooms in here and I'm going to do it because look at how much money I can make. But then the people are going to turn over so quickly because it's clearly not a nice living arrangement. And then you're going to have problems with the municipality. So we know a group of women that are doing it here and they're calling it Pad Split Plus. And they're making it 6-room max. They're keeping the common areas. They're adding flat screen TVs. They're furnishing the common areas nicely. Their houses are decorated. They're giving nicer amenities. And then you're keeping people longer, even though you don't have as high of rent roll. I got you muted.
Mary can't get back in to our podcast. So I'm wondering if we need to leave and then
do we need to come back in?
Yeah, and then come back in. Should we try that? I'll just tell her we're going to be leaving. Will, that's interesting. Usually the host can get back in.
I know.
Okay, well.
Yeah, let's hop off and then we'll hop back in.
Yeah, we'll hop off and hop back in again. Okay. See you later.